There is a stretch of land in Nevada that the US government once quietly labeled agriculturally unviable, meaning, don't bother. The soil was too alkaline, too crusted, too hostile. Decades of failed farming experiments had turned it into a symbol. Scientists tried, corporations tried, even desperate independent farmers tried. All of them walked away. But in 2023, something happened in that same dead zone that nobody in mainstream agriculture wanted to talk about too loudly. A woman standing alone in a university storage room found a name written in faded ink on a research paper from 1974. A species most people assumed was gone forever. And within one single growing season, fields that hadn't produced a meaningful harvest in years were suddenly yielding 3 to 4 times Nevada's long-term average. No GMOs, no chemical overhaul, no billion-dollar technology, just a bee. A forgotten, underground-dwelling, salt-loving bee that the entire agricultural world had written off as irrelevant. So why had no one talked about this sooner? And why does the story of how this bee disappeared in the first place sound less like an accident and more like something that was allowed to happen? Stay with me. To understand what happened in 2023, you have to understand what Nevada's high desert had become by the early 2000s. This isn't the glittering Las Vegas Strip. This is the other Nevada, a vast, sun-scorched interior where ancient lakebeds dried up thousands of years ago and left behind something brutal. Soil saturated with mineral salts, compacted into a hardened crust that most plant roots simply cannot penetrate. The dominant mineral? Sodium. In concentrations that create what soil scientists call sodic conditions, where the ground becomes almost cement-like when dry and dangerously waterlogged when wet. A paradox of a landscape. And yet, one plant had adapted to exactly this punishment. Alfalfa. Medicago sativa. A crop so old that Persian cavalry were feeding it to their war horses around 500 BC. Deep tap roots sometimes reaching 6 feet underground that chase hidden water veins no other commercial crop can access. In Nevada's alkaline soil, alfalfa was the only crop that made any economic sense. But here's where the story gets strange. Alfalfa doesn't pollinate like other plants. Each blossom contains what botanists call a tripping mechanism. A tiny spring-loaded keel petal that stays locked shut. To release it, a pollinator must land at a specific angle with a specific weight and apply a specific downward pressure. When the mechanism trips, it snaps upward and explosively dusts the pollinator with pollen. It's almost like the flower was designed to test whoever visits it. Most bees fail this test. Honeybees, Apis mellifera, the most commercially farmed pollinator on Earth, quickly learned to avoid the snap. They developed what entomologists call side-working behavior, stealing nectar from the base of the flower without ever triggering the mechanism. Efficient for the bee. Completely useless for the farmer. By 2015, Nevada alfalfa growers were reporting pollination rates so low that seed bags at harvest were coming in at less than 30% capacity. Costs were rising. Yield was falling. And every modern solution, imported honeybee colonies, synthetic growth stimulants, precision irrigation, barely moved the numbers. The land had locked its door. And nobody had the key. If you've ever wondered why certain agricultural problems seem to stay unsolved for decades despite the money, despite the technology, keep watching. Because the answer to Nevada's crisis had been sitting in a filing cabinet since 1974. And that is not a coincidence anyone wants to explain. The year is 2022. University of Nevada, Reno. A storage corridor that most researchers walk past without a second glance. Dr. Clara Martinez, an entomologist whose work focused on native pollinator collapse, was searching for something else entirely when she pulled out a manila folder from a shelf that hadn't been touched in years. Inside was a research paper authored by a team from Oregon State University, dated 1974. The paper documented a species called Nomia melanderi, the alkali bee. She later described the moment in an interview. I read the description 3 times. I thought I was misreading it. This bee, this tiny, ground-nesting, salt-dependent bee, had evolved a body structure that matched the alfalfa tripping mechanism almost perfectly. The alkali bee doesn't make honey. It doesn't form colonies. It doesn't live in hives you can buy, transport, and stack in a field like honeybee boxes. It lives underground, digging precise arc-shaped burrows into alkaline soil, lining its brood chambers with pollen paste, and raising its young beneath the earth in isolation. And according to the 1974 research, it had once existed in significant numbers across Nevada's Great Basin. The paper also documented something darker. Beginning in the 1960s, as large-scale chemical agriculture expanded across the western U.S., two things happened simultaneously. First, organochlorine pesticides like dieldrin and aldrin were applied widely across Nevada's farming regions to control weevils and aphids. These chemicals don't just kill target insects, they accumulate in soil, disrupting the nervous systems of any ground nesting species that comes into contact with them. Second, mechanical plowing, used to break up alkaline crust for other crops, physically collapsed the underground tunnel networks that alkali bee colonies depended on. The bees didn't migrate. They didn't adapt. They simply disappeared, quietly, over about a 15-year window while the agricultural industry celebrated its modernization. Dr. Martinez sat in that storage corridor for a long time. The key to Nevada's alfalfa crisis had existed in this ecosystem for thousands of years. Humans had erased it, and nobody, in 50 years of trying to solve the pollination problem, had thought to look underground. If this is the kind of story that makes you rethink what you thought you knew, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. And trust me, where this story goes next is where it gets really uncomfortable for the people who called this plan insane. The research team at Nevada's Great Basin Agricultural Research Station, assembled in early 2023, faced a problem that had no clean scientific template. You cannot simply order alkali bees from a supplier. You cannot import them like honeybee packages. The species had no commercial infrastructure, no breeding program, no documented reintroduction protocol. What the team did know, from both Dr. Martinez's archival findings and supplementary field research conducted by entomologist Dr. Stephen Wainwright in the Touche Valley region of Washington state, where a small wild population had survived, was this: Nomia melanderi required a very specific set of conditions to establish a nesting site. Conditions that could not be improvised. The soil had to register between pH 8.2 and 8.9, alkaline enough to repel competing insect species, but not so extreme that it damaged larval development. Moisture levels at 6 to 8 inches depth had to remain consistent between 12% and 18% volumetric water content year-round. Surface compaction had to be moderate. And critically, the top layer had to be crusted with natural salt deposits that the bees used as orientation landmarks when returning to their individual burrows. Creating this artificially meant engineering something that looked, to every outsider who saw it, like a mistake. A patch of gleaming white salt crust, roughly 2 acres in area. Beneath it, a subsurface drip irrigation network that had cost the project team over $60,000 to install. Around it, a buffer zone of native flowering plants to provide supplemental foraging. And above it, nothing. No protective structures. No fencing, just open sky and Nevada sun. When the proposal was published, the response was immediate. Agricultural publications called it experimental theater. A prominent extension officer in Washoe County was quoted saying, "You're spending $60,000 to make a patch of ground look like a salt flat and then dumping bees on it. What exactly is the theory here?" Local news ran a segment with the headline, "Nevada scientists try to farm with ghost bees." Even within the research team, doubts ran deep, because there was one variable nobody could control: whether the bees, sourced from the small surviving Washington population and transported nearly 800 miles, would recognize the engineered soil as home at all. Nature doesn't always cooperate with human reconstruction, and the team had no precedent to guide them. Here is the question nobody asked publicly. If the alkali bee once existed across Nevada in large enough numbers to naturally pollinate the entire region and was eliminated in under 15 years by pesticide application, then why, in 50 years of agricultural research, had no agency, no university, no government body launched a recovery effort? Who benefits from the problem staying unsolved? Think about that while the story continues. May 14th, 2023. The morning was cold by Nevada desert standards, 54 at sunrise, wind coming from the northwest across the salt flat they had spent 4 months constructing. By 7 a.m., a small crowd had gathered near the site. Farmers from surrounding properties. A journalist from the Reno Gazette-Journal. 2 extension officers who had come, one of them later admitted, expecting to document a failure. The transport containers arrived, modified ventilated crates holding what the team estimated at approximately 2 million alkali bees, gathered from the Washington population over a controlled harvesting season. Dr. Martinez gave no speech. She nodded once to her team lead, and they began tilting the crates. What happened next was described by everyone who witnessed it differently. The journalist wrote, "Like black sand pouring from a broken hourglass." One of the farmers standing at the edge said nothing for a long time. Then quietly, to no one in particular, "They're going in." Within 40 minutes of release, surface activity had already begun. Individual bees were probing the salt crust, antennae touching the ground, bodies rotating in small circles, executing what entomologists call site assessment behavior. Within 2 hours, the first digging had started. The crowd dispersed. The cameras went home. The headlines called it reckless. But 14 feet below the surface of what everyone was calling Nevada's most expensive joke, something was already beginning to move. The first 10 days after the release produced almost no visible evidence of success. The salt crust looked unchanged. The bees that could be observed above ground appeared to be foraging normally in the surrounding plant buffer. But the research team had installed ground-penetrating acoustic monitors, devices that detect vibration frequencies consistent with burrowing activity. And the data coming back was extraordinary. By day 4, the monitors were registering tunneling signatures across 70% of the saltbed surface area. By day 8, the signature patterns indicated brood chamber formation, a deeper, more complex vibration profile associated with the bees lining their underground chambers and depositing egg provisions. By day 12, the chambers were sealed. The first generation of alkali bee larvae, Nevada's first in over 4 decades, was developing underground in a city that no human eye had seen. And then, the alfalfa began to change. 3 weeks after the release, a field researcher named Jacob Osai was walking a transect through a nearby alfalfa field when he noticed something he initially dismissed as a visual trick. The number of bees working the alfalfa blooms was unlike anything he had ever personally observed, overlapping flight paths across every row. He knelt beside a single plant and watched for 4 minutes. He counted 11 individual tripping events on one plant, 11 individual alfalfa blossoms snapped open by the bee's weight and landing posture in 4 minutes. In all his previous fieldwork across Nevada, the average was fewer than 3 per plant per day using managed honeybee colonies. He pulled out his field notebook and wrote a single line, "They know what they're doing." The alkali bees were not simply visiting the flowers. They were working them. Their foraging range extended further than predicted. Their daily active window was longer. They didn't slow down in the midday heat the way honeybee colonies do. When the pollination data was compiled at the end of the season, the numbers had to be checked 3 times before anyone would present them. Seed yield across the alkali bee test plots averaged between 1,100 and 1,400 pounds per acre. Nevada's established long-term average was 300 to 400 pounds per acre, 3 to 4 times the historical maximum. In soil, the agricultural establishment had labeled unviable. Nevada had been used as a symbol for decades, proof that certain land simply could not be farmed efficiently, that certain problems simply could not be solved. What 2023 proved was something more uncomfortable than a scientific breakthrough. It proved that the solution had always been there, beneath the ground. In the very soil everyone was trying to change, medicate, and engineer into something it wasn't. Nomia melanderi didn't need Nevada to become a different place. It needed Nevada to return to what it actually was. And here is the thread you are left to pull on yourself if one forgotten species, documented in 1974 and ignored for 50 years, could reverse decades of agricultural collapse in a single growing season. How many other solutions are sitting in dusty university folders right now? How many other locked doors have keys that were quietly removed from circulation? The bees didn't come back because of a miracle. They came back because one researcher in a storage corridor took the time to read a paper no one else had touched since Gerald Ford was president. That's not inspiration. That's a warning. If this story shifted something in how you see the world, share it. Someone in your circle needs to hear this. Subscribe to TryWise, because we don't cover the stories that get handed to you. We cover the ones that were buried. The next one is already waiting.